Okay, well, welcome everybody. It's the final program. It's the final call of our introduction to sharing your work, and I've been asked just to say a few things about working out loud circles. So the structure of the talk is just I'm going to answer some what, why, where, how, and when sort of questions, then talk about what the life cycle of a circle is, and then some suggested next steps. And my intention is to inspire people and encourage people to actually go on and do a full 12-week circle at some point in the near future, and not to put it off until next year, say. So if we start, what is a working out loud circle? Simply speaking, it's just a group of 5 people reading and applying the freely downloadable circle guides for personal development that are available from John Stepper on his website. There's a resource link at the end of the deck of slides. Why would you do a working out loud circle? It's an amazing way of learning new ways of working digitally. It's a good way of achieving a personal goal with the support of some of your peers. It's a good way of actually practicing how to work out loud and to share your work, and would build on really well some of the stuff that we've been doing with Helen over the past 6 weeks and in the introductory hour call that we did. Also, that working out loud and working out loud circles are becoming a bit of a global movement. So you'll be part of something larger if you want to do circles. But also, it's an amazing way of learning how to work collaboratively with people inside your organization and across organizations, and with people that aren't in organizations, like freelancers and consultants, etc. Where do circles run? Well, so if there's 5 people, all 5 people can be in the same room, or all 5 people can be anywhere in the world virtually, or you can do a mix. I know that there are some circles that meet with 2 in a room and 3 virtually, and all sorts of other combinations. Using a collaboration platform, I advise that people use a platform even if they're meeting face-to-face. It's a good way of communicating that all the content that you would generate yourself individually for your goal, but also as part of a circle, it's all in one place, so you're not relying on emails and where's the email, etc. I'd say that Zoom is ideal for calls. It's really easy, even for technophobes. It's an amazing way of outputting a video and an audio for those that are into podcasts, etc., of what they're doing. And I've always had the view that I want to reduce the barriers to entry. So I don't want people not doing circles because of cost or concern about signing up for an annual subscription. So I've been able to use Slack and Workplace and Zoom all for free. And I try to insist on that, even with people that have got paid for licenses, so people are included rather than excluded. Who should do a circle? Well, I've basically said anyone, anywhere in the world, if they're working or not working, any age. I'm not quite sure what the youngest I would recommend, but there's no reason why school-age kids shouldn't be doing circles with the peers. And I think it's important that no prior knowledge is assumed. So you don't have to be a graduate or, we're assuming no prior knowledge whatsoever of anything, really. Yeah, I would say that I've done circles with people that have been job hunting, that have been out of work. I've been job hunting with mums that are returning to work after 18 years of looking after the kids. So it's been really interesting working with all sorts of people. So again, I'm inclusive rather than exclusive. I'd love all sorts of people to do circles. I would also say that you can do circles with colleagues, and these might be colleagues that you know or that you don't know. Or it could be with anyone anywhere in the world who you know or you don't know. So I'm aware that there are people that I know on Twitter that I've done circles with because I've deliberately wanted to do a circle with that particular individual. But also, historically, mainly I've done circles with complete strangers in response to them accepting a public invite. And I would also say that I've never rejected anybody. I've never turned anybody away. Yeah. So how do circles work? What do we do in a circle? Well, it's effectively personally reading the circle guides each week. It's doing the exercises in the guides, but it's also working on a personal goal that you pick at the outset as part of the work in a circle. The choice of the goals really important. I was pleased that Helen explained the difference between working out loud and showing your work in the context of not having a goal, just in terms of what you're doing every day normally. In a circle, the difference is that you're doing all that, but you're doing it primarily in the context of a goal that you've chosen at the outset of the 12 weeks. I'm amazed that people tend to always pick a work-related goal, but it doesn't have to be work-related. It can be a hobby, it can be a personal interest. But the key things are these 4 criteria. Do you care about it? Obviously, if you don't care about it, it's going to be a challenge to work on it for 12 weeks. Can you benefit from the experience of others? So it's not ideal to pick a goal that you can just do simply on your own, because why would you do that in a circle and doing circle-related things? So I think in early versions of the study guides, it was basically you need to work with other people. It was like a mandatory thing almost. Thirdly, can you frame it as a learning goal? So ideally, it's stuff that you don't know now, but at the end of the 12 weeks, you'll have done a fair amount of reading and understanding of a new topic. So it's been like a learning opportunity in the 12 weeks. It would also be good to do something that you've wanted to do for a very long time, and you've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And part of the power of a circle is having the peer support and accountability of 4 other people to chivvy you along and to hold you to account in terms of, you said you were going to do that this week, where are you up to? And also, it'd be good if it was something that you could make a progress towards in the 12 weeks. So, the when question. So, it's a 12-week period. It's 13 calls. I'll explain why 13 and why 12 weeks in a moment. Ideally, all 5 of you in the circle would agree the same time and day each week, so it becomes a bit of a habit in your mind of it's 7 o'clock on a Monday evening, it's circle time. I've also got into a bit of a routine where it's ideal for me to do a circle in January to March before Easter, after Christmas, and then September to November after the summer holiday and before Christmas. And that works well across Europe, but it's a challenge across other parts of the world that don't have those sort of either seasons or the clock changes and the time zones, etc. I'll say a bit more about that in a moment. Yes, the time zones are a huge issue. It is amazing being part of a circle with people all around the world. I would recommend that if you can make 9 or more of the 13 calls, that's fine. But if you start to miss 8 or more of the calls, then it's a bit of a challenge in terms of your contribution to the circle. So the 13 calls, it's an emerging best practice to do a week 0 call before you start. After the week 0 call, you do the week 1 guide, the exercises, and then you do the week 1 call a week after the week 0 call. The guides are written in such a way where it tends to assume that you do the exercises in the call, in the meeting. I recommend that you try to do the work prior to the call so that you spend the full hour talking about people's issues and challenges of what they've done in the week. But it can work either way. It's worth saying that with 5 people that are usually highly enthusiastic, highly professional, and all the rest of it, 1 hour quickly goes. So just actually spending time on your own, to me, just is a bit of a waste of everybody's time. And then you get into a cycle. So you do the work for the week, then you do the week's call, and you do that 11 times after the week 1 call. Yeah, so this can all be free in terms of cost, but it will cost you some time. And I suggest a minimum of the following. So there's 13 1-hour calls over the 12 weeks. There's 12 1 hour per week on the circle guides and the exercises. And then I'm suggesting an hour or more per week on your goal. So If you struggle to spend an hour on your goal, I would question whether you actually cared about the goal. One of the criteria is that you care about the goal. And so I'm aware that some people will often spend considerably more than an hour because it's something that they want to nail and complete that they've been putting off. So in terms of the life cycle, I've just got 4 stages really. This is for individuals. So at the end of this, I really hope that you all decide to do a circle. So there's like a decision point to actually say, yes, I want to do one. You've then got a choice about, so how am I going to do a circle? And there's a couple of ways. One is that you take ownership of the circle and that you recruit to members. And there's like a variety of ways of doing that. Or you join somebody else's circle when you see somebody else inviting. And you're just attracted to the person because of the background or where they are or their interests or what they're saying and how they communicate. You then sort out when you're going to meet, and you then run the circle for the 13 calls in the 12 weeks. And you then close the call, which effectively is the end of the circle. But as is often the case, those relationships will continue beyond the circle into other things, etc. So the next steps, and if we do break into groups, I'm suggesting that there's 4 that you could discuss in the smaller groups or the larger group, which is, what goal would I do in a circle? I often use that question as a bit of the sales pitch for circles. Start to talk to somebody and say, what's a goal that you'd love to work towards in 12 weeks? And why wouldn't you want to do that with 4 other people who are doing other goals, etc.? I'd then ask you, what is encouraging you to do a circle? Why would you personally do one? I'd then handle objections in your mind, which is what's preventing me from doing a circle. And those might range from a lack of time, or a fear of working with strangers, or potentially fear of working with colleagues that you don't know or that you do know, etc. But just nail some of those obstacles, objections. You've then got a bit about, who do I want to do a circle with? And so you may start inviting people, targeting people. For the 5 circles that I've done that were normal circles, it was purely public invitation. With the odd exception in some of the circles where I specifically targeted specific individuals that I'd love to do a circle with, and I had the joy of being able to do circles with 2 or 3 of those people over time. You then need to sort out, should I do a circle in real life or virtually? And that'll depend on who's in the circle. So if you've got somebody in the States and New Zealand, then it won't be in real life, etc. But if it's people in the same office, then clearly you could do that in real life. I should also make the point that one of the amazing things about virtual circles is, if you're doing a circle with a stay-at-home parent, that person doesn't need to leave home to take part in a circle. So it's inclusive in that way as well, doing a virtual circle. And then you decide, what are the tools that I'll use for my circle? All you really need is a video facility in terms of camera. You can use email. You don't have to use Slack or Workplace. But as I say, there is a power of doing a circle on a collaboration platform, as you may have seen in Slack with Helen, where there's all sorts of resources that people add, and you've got the power of people contributing and seeing it, and you're actually working out loud as you go through the program. There's a number of resources. I know that Helen's asked me to actually collate all the content for the 6 weeks. All these links are in that resource. If you'd like to use Workplace by Facebook, I can set you and your circle up for free. I just need email addresses that are new to Workplace for each member of your circle. The circle guides, the link is there. There's a German application which is being used globally that in the past week and a half, John has officially sanctioned as a part of his Working Out Loud, the website, which is basically where you register that you want to do a circle, when you ideally want to do it, any other information about it, whether you're going to be in real life or virtual, and then you just wait for other people to sign up with you. I've not used that. I've included a screenshot later, I think, but you can have a look on that. You do have to register, but there's no charge for that. I can't say if that's an amazing site, but it's certainly a way of saying that you want to do a circle and waiting for other people to come and join you. I would say that because John has sanctioned it on his website, it'll get more traffic, obviously. But I would say I've tried to recruit 5 circles, and I've managed to recruit all 5 with not much pain at all. That's just an example of a homepage on Workplace of the last circle that I did. That was with 3 Germans and a Canadian. We had an amazing circle. That's just a sample extract of the Circle Guides page of John with a getting started guide at the top, which is week 0, and then all the rest of the weeks. And that's the Circle Finder app as part of John's website now. And you can see it's people saying where they are, they're given a number, and you can see the blobs being coloured in, because you can see the head count that they've got and what they're short of to run their circle. So it's amazing being able to help people recruit. If you need any help in recruiting, I'm happy to help if I don't get snowed. There's a circle starting tonight that I'm doing a week 0 call with them to start them off, but that's 3 Brits, a German, and a lady from Turkey. There's another circle, which are all around the world, basically. Just said something about time zones that you'll see on the video later when it comes out. But I was amazed that I managed to schedule a 3 or 4 time zone circle, including people from the States and Australia, and it was miraculous, basically. And then happiness is a scheduled circle. Even for people all in the same country and the same time zone, it's a challenge getting everybody available for the same 1 hour period for 12 weeks. But it's really important that people commit to the slots, basically. Yeah, if you ever need any help with working out loud or circles specifically, just ask. That's my Twitter page, that's my LinkedIn page, and I tweet about working out loud and showing your work the whole time. So there's all sorts. So I'm hoping that was a bit of a whirlwind tour around circles, and I hope I've covered lots of the basic questions, but I'm obviously happy to take any questions or discuss these in the smaller groups from now on. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. Over to you, Helen.
So hi everybody, if you've got any immediate questions for Simon, do you want to post them in chat? So any burning issues that you'd like to know more about, and then we'll get Simon to answer them. And then we'll put you into breakout rooms for a smaller amount of time today, which is based on what you've heard. Is this something that you want to do? And if you do want to do that, what are your first steps? And if you don't want to do that, but want to carry on with what we've been doing, what are you going to commit to over the next month to keep going? So before we do that, any questions posted in the chat box about the technicalities of circles or specific things that Simon might be able to ask based on what you've just heard? Great. So while other people are posting, Simon, there's a question from Matt.
Yeah. So I would say the key thing is to pick your goal. And if you're passionate about your goal, then I think that's the only place where the topics are specifically for you, but the material in the circle guides is universally applicable. So I would say it goes into greater detail even than some of the stuff that Helen's done in terms of connecting with people, connecting with groups. You can obviously connect with people and groups on any subject under the sun. And if there is no Twitter chat, for example, or hashtag for your subject, then you can start one. Why don't you start one?